In the heart of one of Asia's richest and freest societies, something is going quiet. Taiwan builds the most advanced computer chips on Earth. Its democracy is the highest ranked in Asia. Its economy is now richer per person than Japan's. And yet, if you walk into a Taiwanese maternity ward today, you will find far more empty beds than full ones. In the year 2025, the average woman in Taiwan had just 0.695 children in her lifetime. Demographers call that the total fertility rate, the number of children an average woman has. That is fewer than one child each, and it is the lowest rate of any place on the planet. So this is the question the episode asks. How did the island that got almost everything right end up vanishing faster than anyone else? To see what that number really means, look at the arithmetic of a single year. In 2025, about 108,000 babies were born in Taiwan. In that same year, roughly 200,000 people died. That is almost 2 deaths for every birth. The population has now shrunk 2 years running, and births have fallen for 10 years in a row, down to the lowest count ever recorded. At the other end of life, the island has crossed a line the United Nations calls a super-aged society, which means more than 1 in 5 people is now 65 or older. Taiwan reached that point even faster than Japan did. To simply hold its numbers steady, a society needs about 2.1 children per woman. Taiwan is running at barely a third of that. Why are so few children being born? The answer begins not in the maternity ward, but at a wedding that never happens. In Taiwan, having children is still closely tied to marriage, so when marriage falls, births fall with it, and marriage is collapsing. In 2025, the island recorded its fewest weddings ever, with the average man now first marrying at 33, and the average woman at 31. Ask young Taiwanese why they wait, or why they opt out of marriage entirely, and they point to the same math. Home prices in the capital, Taipei, have nearly tripled since the year 2000, while real wages have crept up by only about 1% a year. A whole generation ran the numbers and concluded it could not afford the family its own parents had. Taiwan's government sees the danger and it is spending to fight it. Every newborn now brings a cash grant of 100,000 new Taiwan dollars, about $3,200 on top of childcare subsidies. And still the births keep falling. There is a hard lesson right next door. Japan and South Korea have poured far larger sums into this same problem for years, and their birth rates barely moved. The uncomfortable truth is that this is not really a crisis about a missing bonus. It is built into the very things that made Taiwan a success. Long years of schooling, expensive modern cities, and an economy where 2 incomes are needed just to stay afloat. The wealth and the missing children came from the same source. This is where a private choice becomes a crisis for the whole island. Follow the shrinking cohorts through the system, and you can already watch Taiwan thin out. Elementary schools are merging and closing for lack of children to fill them. The government's own planners now expect the population to fall below 12 million by the 2060s. That is close to half of today. The working-age population could drop by more than half by 2070, and that is the workforce that runs the chip factories the whole world depends on. At the same time, the number of older people who need pensions and care keeps climbing. With nearly 2 deaths for every birth, there are fewer and fewer working-age people to support each retiree, and that arithmetic grows harder every year. Demography is quietly hollowing out the very people a society is built on, from its classrooms to its workforce. So we come back to the question: Taiwan spent decades becoming rich, free, and technologically advanced, and its reward was the lowest birth rate on Earth. Prosperity and disappearance, it turns out, were never opposites. They were linked, and none of this is a failure of anyone's character. Millions of people simply read the true cost of raising a child in a modern economy and answered honestly. But added together, those honest answers are steadily remaking the island. And they point to a hard conclusion. Taiwan's greatest threat may not come from outside its shores at all. It comes from within. A birth rate this low, with so few future parents already born, may be a decline that can no longer be reversed. It is a war that no army can fight, and Taiwan is slowly coming apart from the inside. Its people know the answer. They may simply be unable, on their own, to make it happen.